Warning, the following video contains spoilers. If you don't want this episode spoiled for you, switch the video off now. Make it happen, Shinso! Make sure that everyone who watches this video likes and subscribes to the channel! You can do it! You've got super quirk powers, boy! Yeah. Can I just say that the animation in this week's episode was really fantastic, particularly in the early half of the episode when we had the first major fight sequence, like the bit where Kaminari is zapping the big dog man. That was just... This fluidity of everything that happened in that entire sequence was just on par with something you'd expect to see in a feature film. I mean, this show really can go out of its way to create some really exciting and stunning moments. I mean, this entire episode was just filled to the brim of them. I was really worried going into this week's episode that we wouldn't be getting full fights, that, as I explained last week, it would be a case of you get a little bit of a fight and then maybe you'd spend an elongated amount of time with some other character, probably Tomoe in the background looking all sinister and evil and getting up to some kind of convoluted plan in the background, or setting up some kind of other main tertiary villain for the rest of the season. But so far we haven't got that. It's been all action all the time, and I can really dig that. I am happy that this episode was just one elongated fight sequence because of just how creative it was. It's really great to see our cast of characters being able to use their quirks in such interesting and in dynamic ways, in ways that they actually can show that their quirks are more than just a gimmick, that they can help to work with others to create some really fantastic results, and it really does go to highlight the creativity of our writers of this program, and of course by extension the manga itself. The sheer dynamism with the fight sequences within this show, and this episode in particular, really is something you don't see a lot in superhero fiction these days, particularly when it comes to anime, and I say that bearing in mind that I am somewhat of a noob when it comes to anime stuff. It was a really fantastic, thrilling episode to be able to watch in that regard. Again, I feel that this week's episode was fantastically well animated, with sequences within it which feel like they should have been probably in one of the movies more so than it should be in the main series itself. It is truly a stunning and exciting episode to behold in and of itself. One of my favourite things from this week's episode was the fact we're able to see Class 1B using its quirks and actually doing something for once. We've really not seen that much of them at all since they were first introduced, and even then we've seen even few of them actually using their quirks for anything other than a gag. As I said in last week's video, I've been really looking forward to see actually what they can do, and the fact they actually are getting some time to shine is really something to behold. It actually helps to develop them as characters and as rivals to our main cast of characters. Being able to see them actually doing stuff and using their powers gives us a greater sense as to how quirks work in this world. So whilst it is flash of the pan stuff, it ultimately still ends up serving a purpose as to showing us the kind of things our cast of characters and our heroes might have to go against in future battles. If I am to be slightly negative, I am kind of disappointed that the characters that we saw from Class 1B are ones that we've already seen before and ones we already know their quirks and their abilities. The ones that we've seen back in that tournament thing from Season 1 or possibly Season 2. I don't fully remember, my memory is getting worse with age, but you know, be sure to correct me in the comment section. But the characters that we've seen before, we know what their quirks is, we know what their gimmick is, and we haven't really seen them evolve or change that much since then. You know, there is no kind of sudden, haha, you've activated my super move, in quite the same way as you'd see from characters from Class 1A. You know, you got Kirishima now with the super punchy thing where he becomes super rockman guy, but he can't move, and you got the stuff with Kaminari with his new zappy powers. You know, we've seen those characters grow and get new abilities and techniques, but we're not really seeing that with Class 1B, and I really don't want this to just turn into a big curb stomp for Class 1A. I want a little bit more peril, or as much peril as we can kind of get with this kind of story arc, you know. Maybe we'll get to the final couple fights and it's a case of, both our teams are equally matched. This will be the one that will decide which team is the best team of all! I hope that happens, because I'm worried that this will just turn into a curb stomp, and you know, now I say all this, I am kind of worried now that we're not actually going to get all the fights, and probably by the end of it some big scary monster guy will come out the background and start fighting people. Like, I hope that's not the case, but if it turns out to be the case, I'll be slightly disappointed, but we'll soon see. Though, of course, I kind of have a feeling what the big reveal for this particular arc's going to be, and it's going to be to do with Midora and unlocking some kind of new power, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. all in all, I think that this was a fantastic episode, really enjoyable, and I look forward to see where all this is going. Again, as I said previously, I hope this is just fight after fight in great little character moments and interactions, because whilst I do enjoy the deeper, more methodical, more deep stuff within this program, there are just some times that you want to have a little more fun and have a little more excitement, a little bit more adventure, and this is an arc that can really deliver that. But what about you, dear listener? What did you think about this week's episode of My Hero Academia? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'll get back to you shortly, or, you know, towards the end of next week's video. We'll soon see. And be sure to like, favourite, subscribe, do all that kind of YouTube stuff, because YouTube is an increasingly scary place for small content creators, especially recently when we've had a problem with likes disappearing over videos. So if you want to support small content creators, give them a like, give them a follow, give them a subscribe, whatever language YouTubers want to use these days. Thank you for watching, and outro time! Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, favourite, subscribe, click the bell, and do all the YouTubey stuff that YouTube wants you to do. Go on, it'll do me a power of good. Until next time, my friends, goodbye!